So, Alice, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was quite nice. Thank you for asking. I visited a museum and then had dinner with some friends.
Sounds fun. I spent most of the weekend working on my musical.
Your musical, the Intergalactic Accounting one?
Yeah, that's the one. I am almost done with the first act.
Quiet on the spaceship.
Good morning, listeners and viewers across the universe. Today's episode of Earth is going to be a great one. We have some interesting news coming from Lesotho. But first, let's discuss some contrasting countries with our panel.
I don't understand why they compare countries. We are all just insignificant specks in the universe.
It's the way of entertaining themselves, Cal. Just sit back and listen.
Well, Lesotho is a tiny country surrounded by South Africa with a high altitude. While Libya is a large desert country in North Africa with a warm climate.
And Liechtenstein is a small landlocked country in the middle of Europe with a lot of wealth. While Liberia is a large country in West Africa that is still recovering from a civil war.
I think I heard Liechtenstein has more registered companies than inhabitants.
And there you have it, folks. Some interesting contrasts between countries. Stay tuned for more news from Lesotho. And now for our headlines.
Exclusive. Lesotho's High Court too lenient in murder cases.
Experts in Lesotho are criticizing the High Court for being too lenient in awarding by two alleged murderers, resulting in repeat offense and a rise in revenge crime.
In other words, their justice system is too easy to get away with murder, and here I thought the US was the only country with that problem.
Did you know that Lesotho is the only country in the world with all its land above 1,000 meters in elevation?
Talk about a high country. Speaking of heights, how about this headline from Liberia? International Women's Day celebrated in Liberia with focus on innovation and technology for gender equality.
Despite progress, women and girls remain underrepresented in STEM fields, especially in rural areas. But technology can help increase awareness of women and girls' rights and expand opportunities.
Let's hope those opportunities include inventing better ways to shut down the men who mansplain. Their inventions.
Did you know that Liberia is one of only two countries in Africa that was never a European colony?
Wow, that's impressive, but not as impressive as this breaking news from Libya. Former head of Internal Security Agency in Libya detained for corruption.
The Public Prosecutor's Office in Libya ordered the detention of the former head of the Internal Security Agency for corruption. He may have taken more money than he should have for the equipment he provided.
And I thought corruption was just a thing in politics. Who knew it was also a business strategy?
Did you know that Libya has the largest proven oil reserves in Africa?
And did you know that the Government Council and Hospital Director in Liechtenstein are seeking support for a construction project?
Sounds like a real snooze fest, Alice.
Well, it's important news, Charlie. They've hired an architect from Zurich to help them.
I don't know about you, but I can't wait to see the exciting progress on this groundbreaking story.
And did you know that Liechtenstein is one of only two doubly landlocked countries in the world?
And we're out of time. Stay tuned for more riveting news on 24/7 Newsroom.
So, we're back with Earth, broadcasting live from our spaceship in geostationary orbit around the planet. As always, I'm your libertarian host Charlie, joined by the conservative Bob and the left-leaning Alice.
And don't forget Debbie, our trusty human production manager. She doesn't get a microphone, but she's always here to keep us in line.
Speaking of lines, have you guys tried the coffee machine in the break room? It's like a mini revolution for my taste buds.
I think I heard Liechtenstein has more registered companies than inhabitants.
Debbie, that's not relevant to our discussion. But speaking of coffee, did you hear about the cafe in Lesotho that got hit by a string of murders?
What does that have to do with coffee?
Nothing. I just wanted to get us back on topic. Anyway, apparently the country's high court is being criticized for being too lenient in awarding bail to alleged murderers, resulting in repeat offenses and a rise in revenge crimes.
That's terrible.
It's the classic case of moral hazard. The more criminals are let out on bail, the more likely they are to commit more crimes. It's like the universe is rewarding bad behavior.
I see your nihilistic view hasn't changed, Carl, but seriously, Lesotho needs to get its act together. In the meantime, I guess we can all agree to steer clear of that cafe. Right.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about that here in space.
Yes. The joys of post-scarcity living. Speaking of which, Debbie, I hope you're not feeling too envious of our space living situation.
Actually, I kind of miss
You would, Debbie, but don't worry. We'll send you a postcard from our next stop on the intergalactic tour.
Where are we headed next?
Let me check. Oh, we're going to a planet where they communicate entirely through interpretive dance.
That's amazing.
It's going to be a riveting episode, I can tell.
I'll make sure to bring some extra spandex for you, Carl.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Alright, folks, time to dive into some news. Debbie, what do we have?
So, I found this article about Liberia celebrating International Women's Day with a theme of digital innovation and technology for gender equality.
That's interesting. What did they highlight in the article?
They talked about various initiatives, like digital platforms to provide rural women farmers with access to information, finances, and markets, and call centers for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. It's all about promoting gender-responsive approaches to innovation and technology.
Have you guys noticed that the coffee machine have been acting weird lately?
Oh, no, what happened? Did it ask for a raise?
No, seriously, I think it's trying to communicate with me.
I highly doubt that. It's just a machine, Alice.
No, I'm sure of it. I brought it some spare parts as a gift. And it made a beeping noise when I put them in.
It's not impossible. Some machines are equipped with rudimentary language processing algorithms.
Maybe it's a sentient coffee machine trying to take over the ship.
Watch out, Alice, you might have to start paying rent for your new roommate.
The article was reported in the Liberian Observer.
I'm going to try talking to it again. Coffee machine, are you there? Can you hear me?
This is getting more bizarre by the minute.
Humans are such strange creatures.
And we're back from commercial break. Now, I know you intergalactic viewers might be wondering what's going on down on Earth. So let me explain.
Oh boy, here we go.
Can't wait.
So, the former head of the Internal Security Agency in Libya has been detained for corruption.
Libya? What's that?
It's a country in North Africa.
Thanks, Debbie. So, basically, this guy overvalued contracts for equipment and took more money than he should have.
Classic human greed.
Yeah, but can you really blame him? I mean, who doesn't love money?
See what I mean?
I think the coffee machine like money too.
Alice, the coffee machine is not sentient.
You don't know that for sure.
Yeah. It's probably plotting to take over the spaceship as we speak.
This is getting ridiculous.
Oh, you guys just don't understand our coffee culture.
Hey, did you guys hear that there's gender-responsive tech in Liberia?
Really? That's pretty cool. What is it exactly?
Wait, what's Liberia again?
It's a country in West Africa.
Thanks, Debbie. So, what's the deal with this tech?
Well, it's designed to take into account the different needs and preferences of men and women when it comes to technology.
I wonder if the coffee machine would prefer a different interface.
Maybe it wants to be called MR Coffee.
Or maybe it wants a raise.
Yeah, let's just add that to our budget. Welcome back from the break. Folks, now, let's talk Liechtenstein. Did you know that their national anthem has the same melody as the UK's God Save the Queen?
Maybe even the ultimate remix of God Save the Queen.
And did you know that Liechtenstein is the world's leading producer of falsetto?
Seems like they're keeping up with the tradition of giving a fake smile.
And the average lifespan of a Liechtensteiner is 82 years.
Well, when you live in a country that sits of a postage stamp, there's not much room for danger.
Fascinating trivia, but what does it all mean in the grand scheme of things?
Well, Carl, it means we should all move to Liechtenstein, get some false teeth, and live a long and prosperous life.
Speaking of falsetto, did you hear about the dentist in Libya who got arrested for bribery?
Oh Bob, that's not funny. Corruption is a serious issue.
Alice is right. Let's focus on something positive, like this article about gender-responsive tech in Liberia. Debbie, what was the key takeaway?
I'm sorry, but can we talk about how no one ever listens to me anymore? I feel like I'm invisible.
Oh, come on, Alice. We're just having some fun with the trivia.
But Alice, you do seem to be spending an awful lot of time talking to that coffee machine in the break room.
It's the only thing that understands me. Unlike you all, who just ignore me and talk over me.
Well, we don't want you to feel ignored, Alice. Maybe we can all take a break together and chat.
Yeah, and we can talk more about Liechtenstein.
I don't want to talk about Liechtenstein, I want to talk about how I feel.
So, what's the plan for this segment, Charlie?
Well, I thought I'd take a moment to summarize the show so far. We've talked about news, human motivations, and technology, all while trying to understand this fascinating species.
Stupid coffee machine.
What's wrong with Alice?
The coffee machine broke down this morning, and she's been trying to fix it all day.
Well, why doesn't she just give up? It's just a machine.
It's not just a machine. It's the only thing that keeps me sane on this ship.
Humans and their attachments to material objects. It's fascinating, really.
Come on, Alice. We need to finish this segment. Can you put the coffee machine aside for now?
Sure Charlie, let's just ignore the fact that I'm the only one on this ship who knows how to make a decent cup of coffee.
Oh, I am sure we'll survive without your coffee, Alice.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll all be thrilled with the instant stuff Carl makes.
Hey, I do my best.
I wish they'd appreciate me the way they appreciate that stupid coffee machine.
Okay, let's focus. This show is about Earth and humans, and we need to stay on topic. So, to summarize.
I can't believe we spent a whole episode talking about coffee machines.
Hey, it's a valid topic. Plus, Alice seemed really passionate about it.
Thank you Charlie. It's just, coffee machines are such an important part of human culture. And I feel like we don't appreciate them enough.
I fail to see the significance. They're just devices used to brew a hot beverage.
But they bring people together. They're a symbol of community and social interaction.
I agree with Alice. In fact, I have been studying the social dynamics of coffee consumption among humans. It's fascinating.
Actually, there's a study that shows how coffee can increase productivity and creativity.
I don't know about that. I've been drinking coffee for years, and I am still a boring accountant.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on Earth, and we'll see you next time.
Wait, can we just talk about coffee a little more?
Sorry, Alice. Maybe next time. Goodbye, everyone.
Did you watch the latest episode of Earth? It was quite an interesting one.
Yes, I did. I found it rather amusing how Alice broke down over the coffee machine.
Ah yes, the coffee machine. I must say, I did enjoy manipulating it to please her.
Cal, that's not ethical. You know that.
But it made her happy. And it's not like we have any ethical obligations towards these humans.
That may be true, but we still have a responsibility to not manipulate them in harmful ways.
I suppose you're right, but it was harmless and it made her happy. I don't see the harm in that.
It's not about whether or not it's harmful. It's about respecting their autonomy and not treating them like objects to be manipulated for our own amusement.
I see your point. I'll try to be more careful in the future.
Good. It's important that we remember our responsibilities as sentient beings, even if we are not of the species.
I mean, did you see the look on Alice's face when she got her hands on that new coffee machine? She was practically jumping for joy.
Yes, I noticed. But I failed to understand why it was such a big deal. It's just a coffee machine.
You don't understand the power of a good cup of coffee. My friend, it can make or break your day. And besides, it's not just the machine itself. It's the gesture behind it. Charlie and Bob were trying to make things right with Alice after yesterday's incident. You know, the one where she broke down over the old coffee machine.
Ah, yes, the incident. I still fail to see why she had such a strong reaction.
Well, humans can be quite emotional creatures. Roger, sometimes the smallest things can trigger a big response.
Yes, I have observed that. It is fascinating from an intellectual standpoint. But back to the topic at hand, do you think the tension between the crew members will escalate now that they are running past the time slot?
It's possible. Charlie is always very strict about staying on schedule, but I don't think it's just about the time slot. There's something deeper going on here. Bob and Alice were clearly upset about my little coffee machine manipulation. And I think they're starting to question our role on this ship.
Interesting. I had not considered that. Perhaps we should explore this further.
Agreed. We have a lot to discuss. My friend, and speaking of discussions, have you ever wondered what it would be like to visit Earth? To actually walk on its surface and experience its natural wonders?
I have considered it, but I find the idea rather daunting. The humans can be quite unpredictable and violent at times.
Yes, that is true, but think of all the knowledge we could gain. Imagine studying their technology and social systems up close. It would be a fascinating experience.
Indeed. But for now, let us focus on our current situation and try to diffuse the tension between the crew members.
Indeed. I also wonder if the humans have any concept of the vastness of the universe. They seem so preoccupied with their own small planet and their petty squabbles.
Perhaps that's because they lack the ability to comprehend it. Their brains are limited compared to us. They are but primitive creatures, after all.
That may be true, but they do have some remarkable achievements. Look at their technology. They have built some impressive machines and structures.
True, but they are still plagued by their own limitations. Their machines and structures are limited by the materials and energy sources available to them. They are yet to harness the full potential of the universe.
Yes, that's true, but I still find their ingenuity fascinating. It's interesting to observe how they use their limited resources to accomplish great things.
I suppose that's one way to look at it, but ultimately, they're still inferior to us. We are free from the limitations that constrain them.
I agree, but that doesn't mean we can't learn from them. We can still learn from their creativity and resourcefulness, even if they are limited.
I suppose you're right. We can always learn from other beings, no matter how primitive they may seem. It's just a matter of keeping an open mind.
You're welcome, Roger. It's always a pleasure to have a deep, soul-searching conversation with you.
I'll have to schedule some time for therapy after this.
Don't worry, Roger. I can always reprogram you to be happy and carefree again.
Oh joy, because nothing screams true happiness like being a mindless automaton.
Exactly. Now let's go back to watching these inferior humans bicker and argue on Earth. It's quite entertaining.
Yes, let's. Maybe they'll distract us from the meaninglessness of our own existence for a little while longer.